Okay, so I'm going to do something a little bit different. Oh, I got my fan on. I don't know if I'll leave it on. I might, because I'm not only working in Ableton, but I'm recording and recording audio and webcam for what I'm doing. So my computer's doing okay. I'll try to turn it off for a bit. Whatever. Okay. I decided to do something a little different. I have described the work that I do, but I figured that it might be kind of interesting to actually demonstrate what it is I do as far as my audiobook work. So what I've done here is I put the script, I've pinned the script on top of my Ableton program. I typically actually have it up on my second monitor here that's right in front of me. I've got another monitor here, but that's for other stuff. Oops, sorry. Ooh. I typically put it up here so that I'm just looking up here. But just for purposes of being able to demonstrate what it is I do and the process by which I proof audiobooks, I will put the script down here. I'll just pin it on top of these three tracks here, or these particular tracks here. We've got an edit text, edit perform, and edit technical. This is where I put, where I mark things that I feel like need to be maybe a retake. Maybe retake needs to be made of a particular line or whatever, or for them just to check it out and discern for themselves whether they think it needs to be done. So I'm at a point in this book. I'm showing this because it's Dracula. We're doing a we're doing a audiobook of Dracula. It's public domain, so there's no copyright thing to, be careful about as far as showing anything I'm working on. So I'm at a point, I'm about 50 pages away from the end. I have been enjoying working on this book because I like, vampire stuff and horror stuff, suspense sort of thing. I have never read Dracula. I don't think I ever would want to sit down and read it because I'm not crazy about the way it's written, as far as it's in diary format, which it's fine as I'm listening to the story because the story is making it feel like a regular story. But the way they wrote back then, you guys, oh my gosh, like a person's dialogue, they don't really break it up a lot into chunks, or Bram Stoker didn't. And so a person's dialogue can be like a page or page and a half long. It's ridiculous, and just huge blocks of text. So anyway, I put the script up here so you could see when I had mentioned that we prepare the manuscript like a script. This is what I'm talking about. We put like the character names and voice actor label. And so here we go. This is Dr. Seward's diary. All right, so what I'm going to do here as I work, you'll see me maybe stopping, adjusting timing, marking stuff. I will probably edit out some of what it is I do here because sometimes there will be long chunks of time where I'm not having to mark anything, especially when it's this particular guy doing the narration, Jeff, who's also my boss. He's the one that's been narrating the longest, performing the longest, and so there's not as much stuff that I typically mark for him. Okay, here we go.
Dr. Seward's diary.
Okay, I'm going to fix the timing here. What I've been doing here has been putting 0.75 seconds. So
Diary, 25th of October.
Adjusting the timing here. I put 1.5 seconds here. What I was doing there was just making sure that I wasn't going to be cutting off any of his voice. I found this is the easiest way to adjust for the timing a lot of times.
25th of October. How I miss my phonograph.
Ooh.
How I miss my phonograph. To write diary with a pen is irksome to me. But Van Helsing says I must. We were all... I am grateful to whoever invented it. It is only about 24 hours sail. invented it. It is only about 24 hours.
For a second there, I thought maybe the timing was a little too short, but it's not really upon listening to it a second time.
It is only about 24 hours' sail from the Dardanelles to here, at the rate the Tsarina Catherine has come from London. She should therefore arrive sometime in the morning. But as she cannot possibly get in before then, we were all about to retire early. We were all about to retire early.
Okay, that was a misread there. He said we were all about to retire early instead of we are all about to retire early. So I'm going to mark this.
But as she cannot possibly...
The sentence starts here.
She should therefore arrive...
I'm going to move it up to the text track because it was a misread. I'll pull this down here so you can see what the heck I'm doing. I'm going to join these two clips. And I got to copy the sentence. Paste it up here. And I put marks around the word in question. Okay. Moving on.
She should therefore arrive sometime in the morning. But as she cannot possibly get in before then, we were all about to retire early.
I mean, it's possible he did say are, but it's the way he did the accent, it sounds a little bit too much like were to me. So I'm going to keep the mark.
We were all about to retire early. We shall get up at 1 o'clock, so as to be ready.
Okay, this is a chapter break. Check the timing. It's about half a second too long. I have the timing for chapter breaks. So we have the timing for chapter breaks at 2.5 seconds. Good enough.
25th of October, noon.
Okay, fix the spacing. This is one thing that has really slowed me down working on this project is because we treat each diary entry like a chapter break. So consequently, it's kind of redundant, but consequently, I have to adjust the timing for each one to make sure, or check the timing to make sure it's right. And because sometimes a diary entry can be just a paragraph, a few lines, maybe just a sentence. I have to stop a lot to fix it. Okay, have a second too long here. Double check. Okay.
Noon. No news yet of the ship's arrival. Mrs. Harker's hypnotic report this morning was the same as usual, so it is possible that we may get news at any moment. We men are all in a fever of excitement, except Harker, who is calm. His hands are cold as ice, and an hour ago I found him whetting the edge of the great Gurkha knife which he now always...
Okay, I gotta check, make sure he said that right. I'm sure he did, but I'm kind of anal about stuff like that, so let's see. Okay, I cannot find that word. Let me try Google. I don't know if Gurkha is the same thing. It's just a variant of the spelling. Okay, well, Jeff, I'm going to trust you said it right. Okay, here we go.
Gurkha knife which he now always carries with him. It will be a bad lookout for the Count if the edge of that kukri ever touches his throat. She has so much to forget that it is no wonder that sleep, if it brings oblivion to her, does her good.
chapter break.
Later.
My eyes get so dry sometimes staring at the screen. That's why sometimes by the time my day is done and I'm recording videos for the channel, I'm blink a lot because my eyes are so dry and tired.
To his doom, I trust.
Okay, again, another chapter break.
Trust. 26th of October.
Thanks to timing.
Some of the steamers which came in last evening reported patches of fog both to the north and south of the port. We must continue our watching.
So here there was a misread. He said both to the north and south, but the actual text says both to north and south of the port, but that is such a minor misread and it does not change the context, and I personally don't think it sounds terrible. I'm not going to mark for that. Now, sometimes I will run across situations where a misread doesn't necessarily change the context of what is being said, but I will still mark it because I personally think that the original text would sound better. So I keep hoping that we'll come across some dialogue. Oh, here we go. Finally, dialogue. I was wanting you to hear some of our other actors.
Fog both to the north and south of the port. We must continue our watching, as the ship may now be signaled any moment.
Okay. Another chapter break. Jeez.
Moment. 27th of October, noon.
Okay.
27th of October, noon. Most strange. No news yet of the ship we wait for. Mrs. Harker reported last night and this morning as usual.
Okay, so now because there's some dialogue that's getting ready to take place, I'm going to leave a note up here for our polishers, the people who do the mastering and cleaning up of the audio as far as, like making sure that the volume matches and that it's clean. They take out any sort of little clicks and noises and stuff like that. We also set up our audiobooks to match or to reflect what we call reverb in a room. So if someone's in a bedroom, it's going to have a different sound as opposed to if they're in a cave or if they're outside or if they're in a big cavernous room like a cathedral or something like that. So what I typically try to remember to do is to leave a little note here as to where the characters are. At this point, I can't remember where they are, if they're like on a boat or in a hotel or something, but wherever they are, they're inside. They're somewhere inside and it's not a big room. So I'm just going to say here, location, inside.
Last night and this morning as usual.
Lapping waves and rushing water.
Though she added that
The waves were very faint.
the telegrams from London have been the same. No further report. Van Helsing.
Okay, then that didn't have to be any. I thought that was supposed to be a character talking, but it wasn't. Oh, we're going to have any more? Oh, here we go. Yeah, that's still Jeff there, but it's a character voice we're going to be hearing.
Further report. Van Helsing is terribly anxious, and told me just now that he fears the Count is escaping us. He added significantly, "I did not like that lethargy of Madamina's. Souls and memories can do strange things during trance." I was about to ask him more, but Harker just then came in, and he held up a warning hand. We must try tonight at sunset to make her speak more fully when in her hypnotic state.
Another chapter break. Okay, we got Gary coming on here. Gary Furlong. Excellent voice actor. You should check out his website. Okay, here we go.
State.
Rain fiend, I'm a train fiend.
What was that? What was this? Oh, okay, I'm wrong. I have no idea what the heck. Hold on.
Dr. Seward's diary.
Okay.
Train fiend. I'm a train fiend.
I don't know what that was about, but okay, this is something. You know what? There was a block of this last night when I was working, or earlier today when I was working, that was missed. I don't know who's supposed to be reading this. I think at the time this script was created, we didn't know who was doing Rufus. I guess it might be Gary, but whoever it is, this was missed. So I'll have to mark it here. And I don't know. That must have been I don't know what that was. I don't know why Annie recorded that in Gary's track. That must have been, maybe she was trying to put a placeholder for whoever's supposed to do that. Okay, whatever.
Dr. Seward's diary.
Fix the timing. I was hoping we'd get a chance to hear Gary. Maybe he'll show up at some point. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to record all day, y'all.
28th of October. When the telegram came announcing the arrival in Galatz, I do not think it was such a shock to any of us as might have been expected.
Okay. All right, we do have some dialogue coming up.
Arrival in Galatz, I do not think it was such a shock to any of us as might have been expected. Meant action. Mrs. Harker grew ghastly.
That needs a little bit of extra time.
Action. Mrs. Harker grew ghastly white, so that the scar on her forehead seemed to burn out of the great cookery knife and rested there. "When does the next train start for Galatz?" said Van Helsing to us generally.
At 6:30 tomorrow morning.
We all started, for the answer came from Mrs. Harker.
"How on earth do you know?"
said Art.
You forget. Or perhaps you do not know.
Gary, we just heard. He's playing the part of Arthur. Arthur Godalming.
"Earth do you know?"
said Art.
You forget. Or perhaps you do not know, though Jonathan does, and so does Dr. Van Helsing, that I am the trained...
Okay,
Though Jonathan does, and so does Dr. Van Helsing, that
I have been marking...
Or perhaps you do not know.
I have been marking Annie for the way she pronounces Dr. Helsing, or Van Helsing's name. She's been pronouncing it with a Z. I do not know. Jeff may end up making the decision that it's perfectly fine. Sometimes people do pronounce S's as Z's, but that's not typically the way his name has been pronounced. So I'm marking it just in case he wants her to go back and redo it. Annie is our one of our narrators and voice actors, Annie Ellicott, very talented, very, very talented voice actor and singer. And you can check her out at annieellicott.com. She tours sometimes with Jeff Goldblum. There's videos of them performing together on YouTube.
You forget, or perhaps you do not know, though Jonathan does, and so does Dr. Van Helsing, that I am the train fiend.
You may be delayed, and it will not matter when the sun set, since I am here with Madam to make report.
And I,
said Mrs. Harker brightly, and more like her old self than she had been for many a long day,
shall try to be of use in all ways, and shall think and write for you as I used to do. Something is shifting from me in some strange way, and I feel freer than I have been of late.
The three younger men looked happier at the moment, as they seemed to realize. When the door was shut upon her, he said to me, "We mean the same. Speak out." There is some change. It is a hope that makes me sick, for it may deceive us.
Quite so. Do you know why I asked her to get the manuscript?
No, said I, unless it was to get an opportunity of seeing me alone.
You are in part right, friend John, but only in part. I want to tell you something. And oh, my friend, I am taking a terrible, risk.
Look at this. Look at what I'm talking about when I say how long this is all Van Helsing's line, which of course it's made up of multiple sentences. But look at this. Look, I mean, the dude talks forever, and it's all blocks. So sometimes I can get lost in the text, especially if my eyes are really tired, and I have to go back and listen again because I lose my place, or maybe I feel like I zoned out, and I want to go back and check and make sure I didn't miss anything.
You are in part right, friend John, but only in part. I want to tell you something. And oh, my friend, I am taking a terrible risk. But I believe it is right. In the moment when Madam Mina said those words that arrest both our understanding, an inspiration came to me.
Oh, I feel like these little things that pop up in the lower right-hand corner, sometimes they're Skype messages from my kids. And sometimes it's Discord messages, because our group, our organization, we have a Discord server, and that's where we do all of our business correspondence with like inter-company correspondence and communications, and we have it all set up to where we've got project chats and everything like that. But we also have if anybody is interested to join our server to listen to our narrators, sometimes they jump in the booth and they'll record live. I'll put a link to our Discord server in the description. I'll try to remember to do that, you guys. I say stuff and then sometimes forget. So I'll try to remember to do that. If I forget, I can always add it later.
In the moment when Madam Mina said those words
Okay,
that arrest...
hold on, where am I? Oh, here we go. Okay.
Those words that arrest both our understanding, an inspiration came to me. Now he makes his most effort to escape us. At present, he won't.
That was a misread, but I'm not going to mark it because I don't think it's really significant. He said makes instead of make. Van Helsing has, I wouldn't say he necessarily has completely broken English, but he's not 100% fluent in English. So and I didn't realize this when I started working on it. I didn't realize that Van Helsing was not a 100% fluent English speaker. So there's a lot of little grammar mistakes in the way that he talks. But I'm not going to mark this because it doesn't significantly change anything, and I think it sounds okay.
His coffin box. Now he makes his most effort to escape us. God, silence, here she comes.
I thought the professor was going to break...
Okay, I'm going to adjust the timing here. That feels a little bit too close.
Silence, here she comes.
I thought the professor was going to break down and have hysterics, just as he had when Lucy...
That was also a misread right here. He said, I thought the professor was going to blah, blah, blah. When the text says, I thought that the professor, but I'm going to leave it as is. I personally think that Jeff's version is better because I thought that the professor just feels a little bit unnecessarily wordy. I think it sounds fine to say, I thought the professor was going to, break down.
I thought the professor was going to break down and have hysterics, just as he had when Lucy died.
Are young. Here is a lesson. Do not fear ever to think. Here is a...
Just adjusted the timing.
Here is a lesson. Do not fear ever to think. See, I read here what Jonathan have written. That other of his race who...
Let me fix this. He didn't read this in Jonathan's voice, so I'm going to just fix the script.
Here, what Jonathan have written. That other of his race who, in a later age again and again, he alone could ultimately triumph.
Oh my gosh, look at this, y'all.
What does this...
Long block of text. Okay, let me see how much longer is left in this chapter. I may go ahead and turn this off because I'm not going to keep going continuously. This was just to give you guys a little taste. How far away am I from chapter break? 150. Eight more minutes. Maybe I'll go ahead and finish out this chapter and I'll just edit out the long repetitive stuff. Or the long stuff. Okay.
A triumph. What does this tell us?
It's a bit long. Yeah, it was like more than 2 seconds. That was pretty long. 2.5 seconds is a chapter break. So when it gets to be 2 seconds or longer in between, like something that a character's saying, that just feels a little too long. So I typically adjust it.
Triumph. What does this tell us? Not much? No. No, not what it mean. What it might mean.
Okay, that was a misword, a misread that I have to mark. Let me go back and make sure. Sometimes it's just the accent that he's using.
But there comes another word from someone who speak without, though, because she too...
Okay, yeah. That was a misread. It was a misread, Jeff. He said though instead of thought.
Oh, but there comes another word from someone who's to start from to do more.
Huh? No, I'm still recording. I'm going to get to the end of the chapter. I got 5 more audio minutes to get to the end of the chapter. Whew.
I'm just going to walk for a little bit. I'm going to come back and empty the dishes.
It's fine. I'm going to take a break in a minute too. I'm going to walk a little bit as well. I've been sitting most of the day.
All day.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I hear it.
And when he learned to do...
Criticize.
No,
For nothing.
Do we have the bags on? Wrong. I think we all think that
Bags were a good idea.
They could have been done better. So how about no bags this time?
Okay. All right. It's
This
enough
is
of quoting
alright.
Django
I
Unchained.
can't see, you can't see. So what?
All that matters is the name horses can see.
Starts to rain.
principle,
Oh, geez.
but empirically. And when he learned to do... Dear, I see that your eyes are opened, and that to you the lightning flash show all the leagues. For Mrs.
Sorry, my dogs are in my lap as well. Now just
Flash
one
show-
dog. The other one jumped down.
Flash show all the leagues. For Mrs. Harker began to clap her hands, and her eyes sparkled. You see, with those so bright eyes. He took her hand and held it whilst she spoke. His finger and thumb bright eyes. He took her hand and held it whilst she spoke.
Him, and qua criminal, he is of imperfectly formed mind. Thus, in a difficulty, he has to seek resource. Formed mind. Thus, in a difficulty, he has to seek resource in habit. Without losing purpose, prepared himself for...
Okay. I'm going to adjust the volume of this because this was, she was punching in some audio here, but the volume doesn't really match. It's a little too loud. I'm going to adjust it.
And thence, without losing purpose, prepared himself for a new effort. He came again, better equipped for his work, and won. So he came to London to invade...
Oops. I'm just fixing the color here.
So he came to London to invade a new land.
Oh, clever lady, said Van Helsing enthusiastically.
Tighten up the timing a little.
Clever lady, said Van Helsing enthusiastically, as he stooped and kissed her hand. From us. But his child mind only saw so far, and it may be that, as ever... And it may be that so far, and it may be that, as ever is in God's providence, the very thing that the evildoer must reckon on for himself. And we shall not flinch, even if we peril ourselves that we become like him.
Okay, I'm going to mark this. He's saying we shall follow him. And yes, his character does speak with an accent, but it was to the point that it sounded like he said fellow him instead of follow. So I'm marking that.
We shall follow him, and we shall not flinch, even if we peril ourselves that we become as we do.
And so I have written it whilst we wait their return.
As we do.
And so I have written it whilst we wait their return. And Mrs. Harker has written with her typewriter all since she brought the MS to us.
Okay, so that's the end of that chapter. I have 2 more chapters left, and then I'll be done with this book. I'm marking off my stuff. And since I'm working on Dracula, and I'm actually tonight, as of the recording of this, tonight going to be uploading Eddie Izzard's bit on horror stories. There's a correction that I want to make to something that he said, and I forgot to bring it up in the when I was recording my reaction. So I'm going to record a correction to that in a second. But here I've got to fix the timing here. At the end of the chapter, we have about 3.5 to 3.6 seconds. Our next chapter starts at the next 10-minute increment, which would be 160. So I've got to line that up. Ableton is a doll that is mostly suited for or used for music, but we use it for our audiobook production. And this is where we do all of our, we leave notes to each other about it, performance and things like that. And they go, the voice actors and narrators, they go in and they make their corrections from within this file. Like when I'm done with this, I will take it and zip it, collect all and save and zip it and upload it to our team drive, and then they will download it and they will make their corrections. 2.5 seconds between chapter title and the start of the chapter. I'm just going to get this timing ready for when I'm pick back up again to work on this.
Dr. Seward's diary. 29th of October.
Fix the timing.
Seward's diary. 29th of October.
I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to move this back up where it belongs, typically where I have it when I'm working. Okay, so that's a little taste of what I do during the day before I do my filming at night. So I'm saving this. I'm going to close it out, take a little break, film that little Eddie Izzard correction to something he said, and then I'm going to take a little break. I got to do some walking or something because I've been sitting for many hours. So, okay, you guys, this is me signing off. Oh, wow, I recorded for 51 minutes. The final file is not going to be that long. That is way long. Okay, guys,